2-1 win over Sydney in last year's finals. There's a period of matches that Ufuk Talay has targeted to get the Sky Blues moving north on the table. They do have a good record, as you can see, against the Mariners historically. A win today would catapult them up to 5th. The Mariners looking to build upon their victory in Brisbane 8 days ago. A result that maintained their unbeaten record on the road this season. Bit of Phil Collins to welcome the two teams. And the stats boffins reckon that it's Sydney's to lose tonight. 48% win probability. Ryan Grant and co will hope they are right. There's a man in form at the moment. More on him shortly. First, a check on the team news. Sydney unchanged from the 11 that started against Perth Glory. Alex Popovich and Douglas Costa remaining on the sidelines. Anas Wahim and Corey Holman were slight doubts after Wednesday, but both have pulled up okay. Ryan Grant will again play in the centre of defence, and Zankta Jesus starts consecutive A-League games for the first time since November 2023. Joel King still preferred to Jordan Courtney Perkins at left back. Pat Wood is on the bench. He's again been linked with a move to Perth Glory this week. A couple of changes for the Mariners. Nathan Paul drops out of the matchday squad after picking up a knock in training, and Will Wilson drops down to the bench. Vitor Feijão comes in at right wing back, just his third start for the club, with Storm Roux dropping to form part of a back three. Arthur De Lima gets his maiden start on the back of his debut goal against the Raw. Sasha Kuszewski returns on the bench. Still no Lucas Moragas nor Ryan Edmondson tonight. Well, there is Ufuk Talay. He'll be eager for some revenge over the Mariners. The last time they met here at Allianz was in last year's finals. The Mariners winning 2-1, and two of Talay's players sent off in that fixture, Jack Rodwell and Corey Holman. And they couldn't quite turn it around in the second leg. Mark Jackson was here on Wednesday to watch Sydney FC against Perth. His side have had the luxury of 5 extra days to prepare for this one, which is the second of 5 consecutive away games for the Mariners, a run that will surely define their season. Referee is Daniel Elder, and a late change to run the line as well. Brad Wright is out and Matt McCorrist in alongside Hugh Fenton-White. Sam Kelly, the 4th official, and Chris Griffiths-Jones is in VAR. Patrick Klimala thought he had a goal against Perth during the week. That one was ruled out for offside. He did win the penalty though, converted by Joe Lolly, part of his hat-trick. The last time Trent Sainsbury played an A-League match here was back in January 2014. The Mariners won 1-0 thanks to a goal by a certain Mile Stajovski. Joe Lolly, the current Golden Boot race leader, 6 goals in his last 3 and 8 all told so far for the season. What a run of form he is in. Can he keep that going here this evening?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
countdown to kickoff is on the big screens.
2, 1.
And it's the Mariners in all yellow who get us underway. Goals almost guaranteed in this one, you'd think. Sydney's matches this season have featured 44 of them. Only the Wanderers matches have produced more. Nearly at the halfway point of the season, Andy Harper, and really neither team where they would like to be.
Yeah, good evening, Simon. It is wriggle on time, but I think it's going to be a special game. It's just got that feeling in the air. And from a personal viewpoint, can I say how nice it is to see teams playing in their main kit when there's not a clash.
Here, here.
They look magnificent, both teams. Pitch is in good nick. It's had a lot of use. Heavy weather during the week in Sydney's home win against Perth, but it's bounced back well. Let's see if Sydney can bounce back after that win.
It's a bouncing ball at the moment, and Anthony Caceres has one in midfield. Zach Jesus quickly shut down by Christian Theoharis. Back-to-back starts for the young fullback. Tale deciding to rejig his back line in a bid to stem the flow of goals that have gone in the wrong way so far as he's concerned. No problems up the other ends, mainly thanks to Joe Lolly, who's fouled Theoharis there, giving Mariners the free kick.
A big night tonight for Theoharis. The better the opponent, often the better his contribution. And he needs a good one. That should be a foul on Ryan Grant, the new centre-half for Sydney. Test the depth in that part of the field for Sydney.
Just a little bit of afters with Ryan Grant. Alu Quall's only got 2 goals this season. Both of them came in that 2-1 win over Sydney in Gosford.
And that game finished with a fair bit of pepper and chilli. Very stirred by the performance was the Mariners' technical area. The game finished with sparks flying. Sydney surely stung by that. The Mariners looking to repeat the dose here at Allianz.
Of course, Harrison Devonish-Mears sent off after 42 minutes of that game. Wahim had spotted an opening for Klimala, but shut down immediately by Mikael Docker. Sainsbury turning away from Caceres. They played their way through that little spot of bother quite well, the Mariners. Storm Room. So the Mariners form. It's a 3-1 win over Brisbane, and before that, 1-1 draw against Melbourne City after a very good second half performance. But it's been a bit stop-start for them, the back-to-back champions.
Yeah, sitting on a win behind Sydney. Played the same number of games. They've defended better than Sydney, but their goal scoring rate has been really poor for the Mariners. They're in that group of teams that just can't seem to get their season going. A bit too much choke at this point. Motor should be warmed up by now.
They can move up one place if they can get the win today. Level on points with Sydney, although they'll be behind on goal difference. Sainsbury coming short was McCalmont, so now a bit of space for Storm Room. Sainsbury looking for Vitor Feijão, and it's managed to keep that one alive really well, the Brazilian. No chance for De Lima to advance, has to check back. Feijão again. It's going to be a Sydney throw, final touch off Vitor Feijão. He's taken perhaps a little bit of time to settle, as foreigners sometimes do. He got the assist for Arthur De Lima's third and crucial goal against Brisbane last time out, which will maybe give him some confidence. Only feeling he got a bit of a shove there. Mikael Docker. I think Tale agreed.
Well, he had 2 hands in the back. Did Docker on Lolly. Quite know how. The ref thought that was okay, but there you go.
Docker feeling for handball, but nothing doing for the Mariners. Klimala takes over. Wahim in front of him. Just lost control of the ball at the crucial moments. Now McCalmont has run into a cul-de-sac. Feijão. Sainsbury. Flick by Theoharis, but nobody behind him. Here's Joe Lolly. Sort of expects something to happen when Joe Lolly's on the ball at the moment.
And I think he expected too much of Patrick Klimala there. But the Mariners on high alert when Joe Lolly gets the ball, of course. He's been fantastic this year, but so too the intended recipient there, and more to come from Patrick Klimala, I think. He's shown the signs, as I think, Simon, it's fair to say Sydney have. They've had some extraordinarily high marks in games this year, but the inconsistency gives them a C grade at the moment, and they really need to boost that, given the investment in the team. Fabulous players. Tale is steadfastly of the philosophy that defence, whatever, let's just score more than the opponents.
Will be encouraged by back-to-back clean sheets in 2 home matches, though. See if they can keep the Mariners out here. It's De Lima. Slight miscue from Roux, but the Mariners are back on it now. De Lima slides it out to Vitor Feijão, who punched it in towards Alec Wall at the near post. I think Harrison Devonish-Mears just pushed the ball away. He was centimetres away. Here's De Lima, forcing the save out of the Sydney FC goalkeeper. Good pressure by the Mariners.
A very good chance for Alec Wall at the near post. Not overly convincing goalkeeping, really. You've got to be stronger than that. He's very fortunate there wasn't a midfielder joining in the attack, and then the second effort was much more comfortable from Devonish-Mears. That could have been catastrophic for the goalkeeper. And had one more Mariners player ventured into the penalty area. And having said that, he's made a really good go of his chance in goal.
Starting his 5th consecutive game.
Chuck it out there.
Foul by Senna. Daniel Elder insisting that Patrick Klimala drops required 10 metres. Wahid thought the foul might have gone his way. Docker. He's behind Harrison Steele, but Alfie McCalmont picks up the scraps. Sainsbury. Ball over the top of Joel King. Nicely controlled, at least initially, by Vitor Feijão.
Tricky customer, Feijão, for Joel King, who missed most of the start of the season. The favourite for that position, left fullback, Courtney Perkins. Joel King's had a run of games now. He's a particularly sharp dribbler, is Feijão.
Kaltak. Sainsbury. Angle wide by McCalmont for Roux. Again, De Lima and Feijão combining nicely. Can they find the room for the cross? Or Feijão going to ground perhaps just a little too easily.
But again, for the first time in the early stages of this match, it's the Mariners attacking down their right-hand side. Looks particularly up for it tonight.
Already the seedlings of perhaps an effective combination down that side between Feijão and De Lima. 17-year-old who Mark Jackson has given a first start in the A-League 2 tonight. Wonderful celebrations after he scored his maiden goal against Brisbane. With the family, here's Klimala. Field by Sainsbury, helped on by De Lima. Tied it up by Matthews for Sydney. Wahid turned into trouble, and this time there is a foul on the German-born Moroccan.
Holman turning out of trouble. I think he's lucky to get away with that. Holman. There was contact. There's been contact previously in this game, which has been let go. I thought he turned into trouble and was rescued by the referee's decision there, Corey Holman.
Lolly. He spotted that late run at Joel King across the face. Klimala couldn't miss. Brilliantly worked goal by Sydney FC. And Patrick Klimala, who was denied a goal by an offside flag on Wednesday, but I don't think he's going to be denied tonight. Sydney lead.
Well, it's a beautifully worked goal from Sydney, who've been under a bit of pressure early, but the extra man out wide on the Harvey Norman replay is Joel King, who bounces the ball with that beautiful left foot of his, square and first time, to the oncoming pole at the second post. Patrick Klimala, unlucky not to feature in the goal scoring midweek, but he starts things off here tonight at Allianz. It's a beautifully worked move. No surprise that Joe Lolly is at the heart of it as well.
And no VAR to Sydney's opponent's rescue this time. 5 for the season in 10 games. Certainly playing his parts. And the Mariners made to pay the price for leaving Joel King's run untracked. It is the 6th time this season Sydney FC have taken the lead in an A-League match. And they have won all the previous 5. So let's see how the Mariners respond.
Yeah, well, they'll respond. They're very plucky outfit, as we know. I mean, there are a few issues going on at the club at the moment, but no longer the team can stop and the coach from seeping onto the field, which they've done well so far, to a greater or lesser extent. But Sydney with 2 home losses this season. They don't want to add to that list here this evening, particularly now that they've taken the lead.
Going to be Mikhail Doka with the free kick. And volleyed into the cove by Christian Theoharis. So let's go down to Daniel Garby. Evening, Garby.
Good evening, Simon. Good evening, everyone. Lovely night down here, and the Mariners fans, you got to feel for them after that one, because they started the game ever so well. So much energy coming from their bench and Mark Jackson. A lot of frustration from Ufuk Talay, but that was against the run of play. These supporters, though, still in full voice. A really nice collection of Mariners fans. Why wouldn't there be after winning the treble last season? The Yellow Army is not too far from the Central Coast, of course, just an hour or so's trip, and a lot of them have made the journey down to Sydney tonight, which is great to see, and they're making their presence felt.
Great stuff. Thanks, Garby. Meantime, some holding by Holman, fittingly enough, gives the Mariners another free kick, and again it's Mikhail Doka, who's got 4 assists for the season. It's his free kick from a similar sort of angle, side of the pitch against Brisbane, that got them on their way. Not on that occasion.
Yeah, well, that would have been a focus of the Sydney homework in preparation for tonight. Doka from that sort of range, this side of the field, has been very, very dangerous to deal with. Didn't quite get hold of that one as he has his most recent efforts.
Sainsbury on for Alan Quall to chase, but not too much pace on the ball. Sainsbury now starting his 4th consecutive match after that long injury layoff. Ball from Grant cut out by Theoharis. Grant to Tony. Lolly. Klimala gets second bite of the cherry. De Jesus, Klimala, Sydney building nicely. Cross too close to Parage Cullen. You see Ryan Grant harps as being a centre-back for the foreseeable.
Well, I don't know that Alexander Popovic is... I don't know the update, but it's a nasty one. that osteitis pubis can linger and be difficult to deal with.
Well, and also his loan deal with Guangzhou is up at the end of the month. I don't think there's any resolution to that as yet.
Right, okay. Well,
but Lima's tracked this one down meantime. Sorry, Andy.
No. Yeah. That's huge news, because Sydney are thin in central defence to start with, in my opinion. And Popovic, well, he's not a rookie, but he's got a lot more football in front of him than behind, put it that way. So if he does get recalled to his Korean club, you'd imagine that Sydney will be in the market. They're very tight-lipped about that anyway at the moment.
Which normally means that something's brewing. Leo Senna getting a push in the back from Harrison Steele.
Well, I did catch the lift up to the comms box with Patrick Baumjohann, who could barely...
Alex
Baumjohann. Patrick's brother. He could barely maintain a glare. It was, and not being rude, of course, but the less conversation, the better at that point.
That's what tends to happen around transfer window time. Might be 1 or 2 coming into the Mariners as well. Here's Anas Wahim. Just trying to slip it through for Klimala. Picked up here by Lolly. Dispossessed by Qual. Wahim can't get a piece of it. And Calmont. Caltech wide for Docker. Beyond him is Theoharis. That's clever. And he was being dragged back by De Jesus.
Well, that's borderline yellow too.
Well, that was about to be my next question, Harbs.
You know, he's beat him with beautiful skill. And the defender, once beaten, has taken the lazy option. And he gets away with it.
Well, 1 or 2 Mariners have gone to ask that particular question. Christian Theoharis, the latest. He being the victim, of course. But it's just a free kick. Which is not quite in the right place, according to referee Daniel Elder. Don't forget, still 1 game to come tonight. Paramount Plus, Perth Glory, entertaining Auckland FC, who've been knocked off the top of the league after the 2 earlier results today. Auckland City and Adelaide United both on 24 points now, with Auckland a point back. Here's Docker's free kick. Too much air on that one.
Well, he's been askew tonight, because it's most often a bankable commodity. Michael Docker from a set piece, in swinging from the left-hand side with his right foot. He's missed the first 2 he's had tonight. Sydney relieved. Much easier to defend their goal lead when Docker's hitting free kicks like that. Normally, defences are under extreme pressure.
Ball was still moving while Swahim was trying to take that free kick. Matthews. Grant. A little bit short for Lolly. Had to take it first time, and what a first time ball it was too. And Klimala forces a really good save out of Dylan Parage, Colin. Lolly and Klimala struck up such a good understanding, and even though Joe Lolly was under intense pressure, he managed to find the right ball, and Klimala not far away from finding the back of the net.
Well, it's one of the things about Joe Lolly, not just his own form is good, but the sign of a good player is how well and quickly they link with other players. They form chemistry, and he's done that. Last year, last couple of seasons, it was Robert Mack. A change of personnel, but Joe Lolly maintaining his own standards, but finding how to combine with his new teammates. Really speaks highly of his quality.
Steele. Calmont back for Sainsbury. Again, an inviting ball for Aluqual, but good anticipation by Harrison Devonish-Mears. There's that effort from Patrick Klimala, which Rach Cullen did well to beat away.
Yeah, I watched Klimala with interest on Wednesday night in the game against Perth. Joe Lolly got the headlines with the hat-trick. Klimala with a very good finish, but rightly ruled out for offside. And Joe Lolly's third came off a very good save from Ollie Sale off a Klimala effort from close range. And the close-ups of him was the anguish at not scoring. And I think Joe Lolly sensed it as well, because when he scored his third, he went straight to Klimala to make sure he felt part of the whole thing, because he knows that the number 9, with the quality he's got, needs to be there leading the goal-scoring charge. And Klimala wants to be that player. He is dyed-in-the-wool centre forward, desperate to score goals. He's got the quality to go with it.
It's a striker that Celtic paid £3.5 million for not too long ago, and he's still really hot. It's in his prime at 26.
He's a great pickup for Sydney, great pickup for the league.
He's on loan at the moment from his Polish club, Slask Wrocław. Sydney FC would be looking at making that a permanent deal if he continues in this sort of form. Here's Feijão though, and Qual will get there ahead of Grants. Just held up momentarily and then lost his footing almost completely. Rather unfortunate for Aluqual.
It was. Ryan Grant passed the centre-half test expertly then. He shepherded Aluqual out to the edge of the penalty area, and as Aluqual looked to play the ball, Ryan Grant got his intervention just right.
His marker and finding space, which he's so adept at doing. Opens things up here for Corey Holman. Lolly lets it run. Caceres. Jesus is the man wide. By Lolly again into the pocket of space and lifts it back towards Caceres, who might get a second bite at it here. Desperate defending by the Mariners, in particular Harrison Steele. It's going to be a corner, could have been more.
Could have been more. And there you have it again. And very, very good players linking. Caceres, whose national team coach, Tony Popovic, is in the house. Linking with Joe Lolly. It's tough to get a handle on for the Mariners, for any team in the league. When Sydney get going. Problem for Fuktale is they haven't gotten going regularly enough this season.
Waheem's short corner for centre. Lolly. Joel King lining one up, going to have a go. And it did take a touch off Rach Cullen. It might have just been clearing the crossbar, but he had to make sure.
Yeah, it's not the time to guess here. You've got to make sure. Good young keeper, his first season. Actually, I think it needs saving. A beautiful left foot of Joel King. It's put on the first goal tonight. This effort is a more direct, it's a fizzing effort too. Beautiful from Joel King.
Sydney's fourth effort of the game. Two decent saves now by Dylan Rach Cullen. Lolly just cut across the ball ever so slightly, which took it away from Ryan Grant rather than allowing him to attack it. It's still going to be a Sydney throw though. Caceres. Lolly. Side of the boots towards Klimala at the top of the box. There Harris helping out his defenders. Can Mariners spring a counter here? Lima held up. It's tough going for the Central Coast at the moment.
They've certainly got them boxed in, Sydney. But they won't sit back. They're not a team to sit back and just protect the lead. It might play into the Mariners' hands. It has done for other teams this season as Sydney have continued to push. Turn one goal into two. The defence at times, it hasn't quite been up to the counter-attack.
Mariners desperate to try and keep the ball under pressure, and Thea Harris drawing the foul. Question about the Mariners remains about where the goals are going to come from. Just 11 all season in 11 games. Carl Docker is their top scorer in all competitions, but yet to score in the A-League. He's got his team a corner.
Well, that's a good run from him. They've lacked a little bit of creativity in midfield. And so whilst the goal scoring record, poor as it is, often hangs on the names of the strikers, it's not as though they've been prolific out of midfield with the service to the strikers either.
Kaltak and Sainsbury are up to lend some height in the set piece, driven in by Docker. Not too much. Calmont has done well to keep it alive, but only briefly. Rather a waste of a set piece, and that, just picking up on your point of some minutes ago. Oh, actually, they have got another corner, my apologies. But their set pieces have not been as they should be, as yet. Work short, McCalmont. Thea Harris, he can hit them, but goes to try and bend it, and Devon Schmears having to stretch and palm it away for another corner.
Yeah, it didn't look like Thea Harris had set himself to shoot and really unleash the full might of that left foot. His first touch gets the ball in between his feet, but he improvises very impressively. Devon Schmears has to scramble and stretch. It's a good save from the keeper in the end.
McCalmont put away by King. Oh, now the loose ball will favour Sydney, and they could be in here. The Mariners scrambling back. Kamala sent a bit wider than perhaps he would have liked. Still on though for the Sky Blues. De Jesus gets the cross in, seen out by Fejau. Holman challenging for the 50-50, and then Harrison Steele hooks it away to safety. Sydney could have been away there, and I just think that the bounce of the ball just held them up momentarily.
Yeah, I think the Mariners erred. They were one pass short of what would have been a good set piece, but for some reason the ball wasn't passed square. It was lobbed into the centre. And as Sydney cleared it to the centre circle, there was only Storm Roo versus two Sky Blues.
Molly popping up on the left-hand side this time, just to keep the Mariners guessing. Caceres. Touch wide by Holman for Senna. Wahib. Found a bit of space in that pocket. Lolly. Yeah, just maybe got it stuck between his feet just a little.
Great chance. I mean, they fashioned that in really tight circumstances, Sydney. And Joe Lolly, ultimately, nice from Wahim Klamala. Maybe a little bit on that pass from Klamala, but still, it's well within Joe Lolly to do something better with that. And he might have taken a leap out of Thea Harris's book. That first touch maybe not so good, but didn't improvise as well as the Mariners man for his last effort at goal.
Mariners safely through the first part of the press. Caltac. It's a poor ball from Brian Caltac. Not often we say that. Only one of the most consistent passes of the football. Immediately apologises. Put his team back under the pump here.
Yeah, that was a poor pass from Caltac, but after making the intercept, Corey Holman needed to do better. He put Joe Lolly under unnecessary pressure there.
This is the As Live ladder, which shows that if it were to stay this way, then Sydney would move into the top 6. Mariners would stay in 9th, but still a long way to go here at Allianz. Joe Lolly's free kick should favour the goalkeeper, and does. Steele. Attack. The pressure from Wahib. Through. McCalmont. Charged down by Klimala. Sainsbury. That ball will find its way through. It's bisected the Sydney defence. Mikael Docker in behind. Went for goal himself. Devonish Mears did stick hold of it. Sydney away in the end. Wasn't totally convincing, but he did the job.
That's a pity for the Mariners, because the pass from Trent Sainsbury was something to behold. In golf terms, he hit a beautiful draw shot. Docker was in, had a couple of bites at the cherry as well. Sydney hesitated at the first time of asking to clear their lines. Mariners not alert enough to make something of it.
All the numbers, apart from perhaps that one, shows that it's largely been an even game, but Sydney with more attacking threat, that's for sure. It's too deep from Christian Theoharis. Here's that chance some moments ago.
Yeah, full of industry, Docker, but just not quite at the races today with that right foot of his. We've seen from a couple of free kicks. And zeroing in on the near post. I mean, that was a great chance. Joe Lolly getting an equipment change on the near touchline.
Yeah, let's quickly go down to Daniel Garb.
Thanks, Simon. Well, we know that Tony Popovic, the Socceroos coach, is here. We know that Harry Suter, unfortunately, is out for a long period of time with that Achilles injury. So Hayden Matthews, who's been involved in Socceroos squads recently, it's a big night for him. And a big little period coming up. If he can really impress the Socceroos manager, who knows? He might just force his way into that starting lineup a little bit more regularly for Australia as they try and sew up that automatic spot for 2026 without such an important player in Harry Suter, of course. So he'll want to impress tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks, Garby. No doubt Anthony Caceres and Ryan Grant as well. They were also part of the last Socceroos squads. Ryan Grant didn't play. His first call-up in 3 years. The giveaway by Caltac, but it's broken nicely for Quall. Sydney have it back through Wahib. There's then a judge to have fouled Alu Quall. Wants to argue his case.
Well, irrespective of the rights and wrongs of the ref's decision, Sydney had intercepted the ball well. And they coughed up possession. And that the errors were before it gets to him. That is a free kick anyway in the end. I think the ref was right. But Sydney shouldn't have been in that situation.
De Lima. Here's Alan Quall on the turn. It's rebounds back off the heel of Ryan Grant. And Caceres to carry it forwards. Planting the run of Kamala, but Caltac was goal side. Coughed up by McCalmont. Kamala. Wally won't get there ahead of Sainsbury or Docker, who then takes a tumble. Mariners back on the defensive. Lolly. Holman. Back through De Jesus. Senna. Caceres. It's like a training ground drill. Sydney bringing the passes about as if the Mariners players are in the rondo.
Just signs, Simon, certainly on that last break from Sydney, that they're going a bit tough for the players. Very, very high humidity.
Here's a yellow card, first one of the evening for Anas Wahim for that biting challenge on Alfie McAlmont. His third caution of the campaign. Maybe a little bit of frustration from Anas Wahim. He's felt perhaps that he's the rub of the green on one or two decisions. Mark Jackson taking this opportunity to pass on some instruction to his players.
Well, there's no scheduled drinks breaks. The air temperature, of course, in the cool of the evening. There's the boss.
Two big qualifiers coming up in March. Automatic qualification may hinge upon them. Games against China away from home. Remind me of the other one, Harps.
Indonesia.
Thank you.
I thought that was going to be one of your trick questions.
No.
I'm surprised I got it right.
Slipped my mind.
Yeah, well, the Indonesia game is here in Sydney.
Yep.
The new coach, Patrick Kluivert. Clearly, one would interpret that the Indonesian Football Association is looking to double down on the recruitment of Dutch footballers with Indonesian heritage. Kluivert, a big draw card, you'd imagine that's largely the thinking. That one's going to roll out.
Another one with a Brisbane Roar connection, of course.
Indeed, itself with Dutch heritage as a football club.
Heritage is doing the Raw much good at the moment. Beaten again today by Melbourne City. The earlier game, Adelaide United 2-1 victors over Wellington Phoenix. To go briefly top of the league before Melbourne City took over the baton. It's going to be a foul in favour of the Mariners, and Trent Sainsbury's asking why isn't there a card for that one.
He's looking good, Trent Sainsbury. It's a pretty cynical one from Joel King. I would share Sainsbury's frustration. But we're very well aware of Trent Sainsbury's calmness in possession, soundness of technique. And he's shown those signs here this evening.
Another free kick. The Mariners have had a series of set pieces. Not always been the best delivery. Docker or Thea Harris perhaps this time. Docker's had a few goes. Half time just 5 or so minutes away. There's going to be Docker, and here's Alfie McAlmont. There's a lot of bodies in there. Oh, and it's looped in. It's going to be an own goal, I fancy. It was Harrison Steele's shots. He's claiming the goal, but there was a big deflection. If it is a Harrison Steele goal, it's the first time he's scored in back-to-back matches in the A-League, and the Mariners are all square with 5 minutes of the first half to run.
Well, the variation on the Harvey Norman replay from the free kick, it's not a surprise, shouldn't be. They tried this and it worked with a deflection at Gosford a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunate for Klamala, but it's pretty ordinary defending, very static from Sydney. And it's the unfortunate reaction in the end for Kamala, but the damage done before then, and the Mariners find a way to get back level.
Well, Klamala's trying to help that up and over the crossbar, isn't he? But it worked in the Mariners' favour. Harrison Steele pointed to his chest as he ran off. That's my goal, he's saying. I'm sure Patrick Lavala will be glad to give it to him and confirm that it will be Harrison Steele's goal, as the shot was on target. And he becomes their joint top scorer in the competition, along with Alu Kwal on 2.
Well, at this point, it doesn't matter who gets it or how they go in. The Mariners have fought hard here this evening. Sydney have had a lot of the ball, but have just tired. That's my way of analysing it, the last 5 minutes or so. Not so the Mariners. Found their way forward. Whether tiredness is a factor, indeed whether that was involved in that defensive effort from Sydney, who knows. It just wasn't good enough. Very, very static.
Here's Lolly. Well defended by Docker. Lolly saying to Zach de Jesus, you stay there, I'll throw to you. It's the 20th goal that Sydney FC have conceded this season. It's one of the reasons why they're not in the top 6 as things stand. Wahim. Docker trying to turn away, out of trouble. Sat on the ball there, Michael Docker. Yeah, Caceres comes away with it. It's going to be a corner.
The corner for Sydney in a contested duel. It did look to me as though Docker was locking the ball up as well, which I didn't think was permissible, but the ref was there, match officials close by.
Here's Joe Lolly. Charged down well by Thea Harris. Tamala on the turn, and it was Ryan Grant trying to get his toe in there. Mariners scramble it clear. Feijao does well to retain possession and just provide some respite for his team. Sydney stung into action by that equaliser. Senna barged over by Kwal. Just a little too much force. Is that last chance for Sydney? Ryan Grant was very close.
It was close for Grant, but compare the way the Mariners defended that free kick with a couple of variations with the corner as it was, with the way Sydney defended to concede the goal. Chalk and cheese.
Well, there's no mystery as to what the problem is for Ufuk Talay. Does he solve it? Can they get back in front before half-time, which is looming? Wahim's free kick, lovely tail on it. Let's put in some super set pieces, Anas Wahim. Caceres. Holman. The first of 2 additional minutes, the end of the first half. Sydney probing. Sainsbury stepping in front. Joel King. It's on Trent Sainsbury, of course. He's officially announced that he's a retired Socceroo. Only just back in the Mariners fold, of course, after long-term injury, but I wonder if Tony Popovic has written his name into a black book for future reference with a question mark against it. experienced at international level, of course. Wahim shrugging off Steele. Almost didn't have the legs to reach Hayden Matthews. Thankfully for Sydney, his legs were long. Your assessment of this first half then, Hubs?
Well, Sydney running out of legs. I think for a period in that second half, after putting the Mariners under a lot of pressure, playing some good stuff. Mariners goal under pressure, conceded the one goal, and then as Sydney flagged, the Mariners came back to get their goal, and it's finished pretty even, which is reflected by the score line. It's going to swing on an error at this point, maybe with time to go still in this first half.
Mikael Docker making progress. Zach De Jesus got back goal side, well defended. And that is indeed half-time. A fascinating first 45. Sydney FC taking the lead thanks to Patrick Klimala's 5th of the season after Joel King square up, and then Klimala getting on the end of Harrison Steele's shot, which looped up and over Harrison Devonish-Mears and into the back of the nets. And all of that gives us that half-time scoreline, which reads Sydney FC 1, Central Coast Mariners 1. We're off to the break. On the other side of it, join Tara and the team for their thoughts on the first half. Stay with us.
The A-League's Professional Footballers Australia and Football Coaches Australia are taking a stand against online bullying in Australian football. There is no place for racism, abuse or hate in our sport. Play it fair. Entering the field of play without authorisation or bringing flares into Allianz Stadium is illegal. If you enter the field of play without authorisation or possess or throw a flare, there are severe penalties that apply. Any spectator identified with a prohibited item may be refused entry, evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future matches, and handed over to police for further questioning. A financial fine may also be issued. We are committed to providing a safe and enjoyable environment for fans and ask you to respect your fellow spectators by refraining from illegal and dangerous activities.
Driving you bonkers.
They're taking you back to school.
Well, salivate with insanity no more, cause Spongy's at your
which is why she's already got a replacement car. Because I thought car is first. Car beers. Replacement cars that keep life moving.
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu UTE. The winner of the prestigious award will win their choice of a brand new top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX. Plus, the Isuzu UTE Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club to win $10,000. Make sure you're watching this season's grand final when the winning player and club will be revealed.
And the Assist of the Month award goes to eToro. Goals require assists, so pursue your financial goals on eToro with the assistance of over 35 million users. Ask questions, explore other investment strategies, performance and investments. Get insights and ideas to build your ultimate portfolio from a wide variety of assets like global and local shares, crypto, ETFs and more. Join eToro, proud sponsor of the A-Leagues. to cheer. Just like Liberty supports the A-Leagues, they're on your team too. Whether you're planning a holiday or buying a new home, they can provide the assist you need to kick your free thinking goals. Liberty, loans for free thinkers.
Liberty Home Loans hit different. They're for the free thinkers, the go-getters, and the creatives. So if you're a free thinker, you'll be right at home. Liberty, loans for free thinkers.
What do you do when you're not spinning? What are the chances? We're actually training in our daughter in festival, which is a little outside the catchment area. Anything you can do?
She said, is there anything you can do?
It's not my regular bike.
Know the homes in a school catchment. Domain. Know what we know.
Welcome back to the Hungry Jacks halftime show. 1-1 between Sydney FC and the Mariners at the break. We'd love to see this man out there, wouldn't we? Doing what he does best in the A-League and trying to help the Sydney FC cause. That is Douglas Costa, the Brazilian, the marquee man of the competition. Douglas, great to see you. Unfortunately, you're not out there doing what you'd love to be doing because of the hamstring injury. How are you dealing with it? Because I'm sure it's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I can't wait to come back and help my teammates. But now is the time that I have to recover and be ready to come back as strong as possible.
When can we see you back?
I don't know, I have to follow the protocol, but I feel good. I'm starting running in the field. So my feedback is going to come day by day. And then I hope to be back to really soon.
What do you like watching? I'm sure it's not easy for any sports person. What do you like watching when you're out injured, when you're up in the stands?
Of course, to be honest, I don't like football at all. I like to watch NBA. But of course, I came here and then I watch my teammates, and I love when they score because I know their success because they turn every week to come at the end of the week and then score some goals. Then I'm really happy for that.
At least you can mingle with the supporters. There are so many youngsters who are just waiting around the stands here at Allianz, desperate to get a photo with you or get your signature. There's one supporter who's come prepared. Yeah. What's it like? Do you ever get tired of something like that, the adoration of supporters?
Of course not. I'm really happy when they come and then trying to get something from me, like I go there and take a picture or signature. I'm really happy of the support they gave to me since day one. So yeah, I appreciate that.
And your biggest supporters of all, your family have just arrived in Sydney. So what's that like for you and how much are you enjoying this city and this country?
Of course, I'm really excited for them as well because they didn't watch me playing until now because they just arrived a week ago. So I have to recover fast, back to the field to bring happiness to my family as well. They really like Sydney so far. It's an amazing culture, amazing city. And then, yeah, of course, really happy here.
Get fit quickly. We want to see you out there soon. You've got some autographs to sign and some photos to take in the meantime. The second half action isn't too far away. This has been the Hungry Jacks halftime show.
Thank you.
Second half about to get underway here at Allianz Stadium. Harrison Steele's second goal in 2 matches, cancelling out Patrick Klimala's opener. That was the story of the first half. No changes made by either coach at the break. Sydney FC getting us back underway. Andy Harper with the trip to Wellington to come on Wednesday, which is always difficult. Sydney will want to gain maximum points at home. Equally, Mariners very difficult to beat on the road this season. In fact, they haven't lost an A-League game since March, which was here against Sydney. That's on the road.
Yeah, when the Mariners have got the bit between their teeth, and Harrison Steele goal that levelled it for them does put them in that mindset that Sydney need to establish a winning habit at home. Every team does, but certainly Sydney, with the players they've got, they just need to be a little bit more convincing. They've played some good stuff. The Mariners have countered that oftentimes, but still the onus is on the home team to deliver.
Reminder of the teams at the start of the game. Sydney FC unchanged. Still without Douglas Costa. Joe Lolly's still having some problems with the boots. It's once or twice now he's gone down to adjust something, whether it be the laces or maybe they're a new pair. They look pretty pristine. Like slippers these days.
Too often. But he was effective again in that first half.
Sydney have won the ball back pretty high up the field. Wahim slipping it through and getting the return. At least that was the intention. Klimala, picked up here by Lolly. Wahim. Holman. Wide for De Jesus. Centre. Sydney had periods, quite long periods in the first half when they had possession in these sorts of situations when the Mariners' defence was set. Zach De Jesus has skipped past 2 but can't find the cross. Straight at Kaltak and Theoharis clears.
A great run from De Jesus, and then the easy part of that whole sequence he got wrong.
Wahim trying to get there ahead of not one but 2 Mariners defenders, which was one too many. Calmont bumped off it, but not unfairly by Klimala, whose backheel caught Caceres a little bit by surprise.
And he still appreciated the idea. But Caltech swoops, hacks the ball clear, and Sydney will look to come again.
Sydney have scored 18 second half goals so far this season. So normally when they do their best work, they've got good attacking options on the bench as well. Segicic, Wood, Quintal, Kaczarski. Tackle by Christian Theoharis. Joe Lolly doing up the boots again. Maybe he's just asking them, why haven't you provided me with a goal yet tonight? He's off again.
Yeah, the relationship is an intimate one, and clearly mediation being required.
Matthews, comfortable for Sainsbury. Rue for McCalmont. Touch off King gives the Mariners the throw. Mariners bench tonight, Sevit Noor and Bailey Brampman. Eames providing potential attacking threat. Sasha Kozewski is back on the bench as well after a stint out of the matchday squad. Docker trying to make progress down that left-hand touchline, earns a throw off Holman. Mariners with the switch. Roux. Feijão. Caceres with the foot in. Sainsbury. Back to Kaltak from McCalmont. And out for Mikael Docker. McCalmont. Steele, first time ball, looking for Theoharis, just angle favoured Ryan Grant. It's the right idea. Oh, careless by Corey Holman. Vitor Feijão, big chance here. De Lima has his shot smothered by the Sydney FC defence. In fairness, were quick to scramble when they had to, and now Wahim to carry the ball forward for the Sky Blues. And he got caught by De Lima in his attempts to win the ball back.
Sensational work from Quintal. Again, horrible turnover for Sydney. Really opened up the chance for the Mariners. Quintal carried the ball out really cleverly and with purpose. Going through my mind, another player. Of course, that's not Quintal, it was Wahim. Excellent. Thank you, Simon.
He might be with us soon.
Well, I think Segicic was ready to come on.
There's the Mariners' next 5, by the way. Four of those. Well, the next 3 of those, I should say, on the road. They've got 5 in a row away from home. Given they haven't lost away, maybe no bad thing for them. Sainsbury wondering whether Klimala had straight offside. There's no flag. Brought down by Joel King. Well protected as well. Angled back by Lolly towards Corey Holman. Senna finds the gap for King. Here's Lolly. Have a go here, Joe Lolly. Kaltak made the block. You're right about Adrian Segicic, Harps. He is stripped and ready for action next time the ball goes dead. Senna. Grant directing the traffic up ahead of him. Lolly. And King got on the end of that. Wahim held up by Sainsbury. Saras couldn't find space. And here's Theoharis with a chance of a break for the Mariners. Arthur De Lima is running full pelt to get at the back post. Here's Alu Kuol. Still Kuol. And still. Goodness me. A whole plethora of players to get through, and then Theoharis blazes over the top. Alu Kuol would just not be stopped. Here's that change for Sydney, Harps.
Yeah, Wahim makes way. He's been good again tonight. Segicic himself is doing well this season. Gets a chance now with a large slice of the second half still to play.
He was also on a yellow card, Anas Wahim. I don't know whether that played any part in Ufuk Talay's thinking. Adrian Segicic, a very capable replacement. Whether there might be a bit of an injury as well for Wahim.
Sydney fans watching that will be hoping that it is just some respite, removing the yellow card threat. discussion seemed to be a little bit different, didn't it, between player and coach?
It seemed as though Talay was inquiring as to whether there was a problem. Yeah. Groin area. Caceres. Lolly. Still going, Joe Lolly. Goal kick though, rebounded off the Englishman.
Well, look how quickly the Mariners swarmed. And when Joe Lolly beats the first player and cutting in onto his left foot, it's danger signals. And the Mariners responded to those. Three of the nearest defenders gathering as quickly as they could. The last of whom, Brian Kaltak, was just happy to block the path.
Now the Mariners nicely through the press. Docker away down the left. Calmont more central. Storm Roux on the right. Here's Arthur De Lima. Roux again. And Calmont. Way too far in advance of De Lima, which is a pity because that was a decent break by the Central Coast.
That was good space in the Sydney penalty area. It would have been for De Lima. It's an inadequate pass from McCalmont. And it wasn't particularly under pressure. But again, don't discount, even 56 minutes in, a long way to go, but don't discount the impact of fatigue. High humidity, and with the warmth still in the air, the players not asking for a rest and playing at full tempo, it does tax.
Patrick Klimala coming back from an offside position. Sources tell me, by the way, that Patrick Klimala is unlikely to return to his Polish club at the end of the season. And surplus to requirements there. Opportunity for Sydney, perhaps, if they want him, of course, to get him full-time.
Unless his parent club has found another bidder. But I think Sydney would be pretty happy to keep him by the looks of things.
Well, the loan market worked quite well in their favour last year. Fabio Gomez, of course, hit double figures, and you'd fancy that Klimala might do the same. It's very tight, that ball, but Segacic scrapping for it, and he's done well to earn the free kick.
I don't know how he dug that out. Segacic, Sainsbury was all over him. The ball managed to stick the ball in. Look at this work. Yeah, excellent work. And in the end, McCalmont commits the foul. His first contribution off the bench. Very well done, Adrian Segacic.
So Joe Lolly taking over free kick duties. See if those boots have mended their relationship with their owner. Looking to angle it towards the penalty spot, out by Quall and then further by Feijão, further still by De Lima. Back with Lolly. Senna punches it out towards Joel King, who'll swing in the cross. Quall at full stretch. Probably a bit relieved to see that one go behind for a corner. That could have flown in the top corner.
Well, he's defended with real gusto, throwing himself at this one and has no control at all where that's going. Look how quickly he glanced over his right shoulder to see where the deflection was going to head. The Cove awaits.
Work short, that's been the modus operandi of Sydney's corner kicks this evening, mainly. Cross is not bad, Joel King trying to Time above Storm Roux, not quite able to do so. Caltac protects it behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, excellent header defensively from Storm Roux. That was delivery from centre into the penalty area, which looked like it had a bit of a chance for Sydney. Really, really good work from Storm Roux. Corey Holman can't secure possession.
Ryan Grant missed the header, which means Zach De Jesus had to make his. This game really balanced on a knife edge. Lolly asking the question, Trent Sainsbury, and Sainsbury had the answer. Still sprightly enough at 32, Trent Sainsbury. Matthews. King shaping for the cross and then thought better of it. Senna. Lolly. Patient from Sydney. Caceres. Senna creeping cross fields. Through Holman. Now the switch for Joel King. Quite bring the ball under his spell first time around, so Sydney have to start again. Senna trying to get clear of Qual. And drawing that contact. Another free kick, Sydney.
The tension was too close, and then landing on the ball doesn't exactly tickle.
Yeah, knocked the wind out of him.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
In the battle between ball and diaphragm, ball normally wins.
Couple of deep breaths from Leo Senna, back down on the haunches. His determination as this set-piece situation for Sydney. Again, Joe Lolly standing by to deliver it. It's too close. Patrick Klimala claiming that he'd been impeded. Really, he was the only one that seemed to look towards the referee. Mariners just pinned in for the moment. Lolly. Spun off the boot of Caltac, and then after that Storm Roux as well. There's going to be a change here for the Mariners. Bailey Bratman to come on in place of Christian Theoharis. And let's quickly go down to Daniel Garb again on the subject of Trent Sainsbury, Garby.
Yeah, Simon, well, I know you said in the first half that he's not someone who should be discounted in terms of future Socceroos selection. You might remember, as much as anyone, the World Cup in Qatar, he was there cheering on Australia for every game. He was playing in Qatar at the time. He said straight out, I'm going to do everything in my power to try and put myself back in the Socceroos windows, and it hurt him so much to watch Australia in a World Cup from the sidelines. He couldn't bear it. So he might be a long shot, but he's looking very good tonight. The Socceroos coach is watching on, and he's not someone, considering his record, that you can discount.
Absolutely. Thanks, Garby. On his last cap in 2022. Of 61, there's Tony Popovic. He's replaced the black book with the black phone. Probably scrolling through social media at the moment.
That's right up his alley.
You reckon? Lolly. Caceres being tracked by Steele. Senna darting away from Feijão. King. Sydney have had plenty of ball in these sorts of situations. As yet not quite been able to unlock the door. They won't do on that occasion either.
Yeah, deflected cross from Joel King. It's you referred to the Mariners being pinned in. It's partly that, but they're happy to sit in as well. And the longer it goes, frustrating Sydney, the more it looks like the Mariners, in trying to conserve some energy as well, are pretty happy to try and hit Sydney on the break as they push forward in numbers.
Got to be careful not to give the ball away here, though. Caceres squares it up. Segicic, big chance. And he's blown it by quite some distance as well.
Yeah, never looked comfortable. Again, Sydney have won, I'd say, more than their share of possession from the Mariners inside the Mariners' defensive third. And this was put on beautifully. That never looked likely. Totally mishit a great chance, which would have scuppered the Mariners, of course, if he gets that on target. But as things remain, it's poised nicely. And you'd reckon the Mariners, as Sydney pushed forward, would back Alu Kuol in open space against the Sydney defence, whoever happens to be there at any given moment.
To your point, of course, all depending on whether he's got enough gas in the tank to do so. Given the conditions, it's Arthur De Lima chasing this one, but Devon Ishmere's out to play sweeper keeper, and the return ball towards Grant from Matthews was left a little too short. A few Sydney FC hearts in mouths at that particular moment. Joel King slipping on takeoff. Given away by Caltac. Really scruffy passage of play. Sorted out by Klimala. Here's Joe Lolly into the box. Held up brilliantly by Brian Caltac. And then given away. Again, to your point, Harps, did all the hard work.
Yeah, uncharacteristic. Although we've seen more of it in recent weeks than we've seen in the preceding seasons from Caltac. But importantly for his team, he's been the last man doing the last man's job well.
Well, Ufuk Talay is incensed that his team has not got the throw in there, and that shows you just how tight this game is and how difficult Sydney FC have found creating chances in this second half.
Yeah, and I think that last little passage, that sequence of turnovers, says a lot. Here's a yellow card for Ufuk Talay.
Yeah, he was pretty strong in his protests.
Yeah, just you know, the players are just lacking that little bit of freshness at the moment.
I don't think the card has calmed him down either. A few choice words for Sam Kelly, the fourth official. A mistake by De Lima could open the door for Sydney. De Lima has stayed down, by the way, as Joe Lolly receives possession from Zach de Jesus. Behind them is Anthony Caceres. De Lima back to his feet now and back in his defensive shape. Seemingly struggling. Is it just cramped with De Lima?
Yeah,
Might be the case.
Yeah, I think that looks like it to me. I expect there to be a sequence of players going down with cramp, given the taxing conditions.
Well, Sabit Noor going through some last-minute instructions with Danny Vukovic, part of the coaching staff now, of course, after being a part of that famous treble-winning team. And Will Wilson also being readied by Mark Jackson's assistant, Danny Schofield. So it could be a double change coming up for the Central Coast Mariners. De Lima's had the pickle juice. Whether it will do any good. Once cramp sets in, it can be hard to shake off. So those two changes are ready for the Mariners. Vitor Feijão is one of those to make way. Sabit Noor, his replacement.
Substitution for the Central Coast Mariners, replacing number 35, Arthur De Lima, is number 28, William Wilson. And replacing number 11, Vitor Feijão, is number
And
17.
Arthur De Lima's starting debut is over. Not quite as spectacular as his A-League bout against Brisbane last week, but he's done his job. And Will Wilson is his replacement. Towards Squall. Sabit Noor eager to get among the action. It's a very intelligent ball by De Jesus, under pressure too. Segicic. King across the defensive line for Ryan Grant. Senna. Caceres. 1-2 with Joe Lolly. And threaded through beautifully is Adrian Segicic. Scores! Well, he fluffed his lines a few minutes ago, the substitutes, but not this time. And in front of the Cove, Sydney lead for the second time this evening.
Well, the first effort on goal with his favourite left foot was poor. His second effort on goal with his least favourite right foot on the Harvey Norman replay was the end of some beautiful football. Very patient from Sydney. But Caceres measuring the pass, the timing of the pass, the weight of the pass, feeding the timing of the run on the angle from Segicic. It's just delightful from Sydney. They've been made to wait for it. They've been very patient. And the Mariners' resistance has been broken.
Adrian Segicic's third goal of the season. His previous two came in the same game against Western United. And the Mariners have cracked after absorbing, well, I was going to say pressure, but it's more sort of territorial domination that Sydney have had in the second half. But that slick bit of interplay leading to the very cool finish from Adrian Segicic.
And Caceres setting it up. He's one of the players who, irrespective of how heavy the conditions may be, he doesn't take a break. I mean, he's got incredible endurance. Now, he's not the only one. That's a foul by Klamala on Sainsbury. But rarely do you see Caceres dulled physically. Some players have just pared things back a little bit to manage their energy levels in these conditions. They'll play in worse, of course, but they're still difficult. But Caceres just powers. It's a beautiful bit of football from him.
He's been a bit of a go-to man, hasn't he, for Sydney in recent weeks? Goal and assist to rescue a point against the Jets away from home. Just when Sydney needed a bit of inspiration, they found it. Another little note, no doubt, goes in the book of Tony Popovic. And the Mariners come from behind a second time. Picked up in the deep here by Klimala. Segacic just waiting for the ball to come onto him. It was a biting challenge from Sainsbury. He's incredulous at the yellow card that's waved in his direction. The replay will be instructive as to whether he's right or wrong.
Well, I think if once the ref decided this is a foul, he's got to give the yellow card. I'm not sure it's a foul, though. Perhaps slightly from behind, I'm not 100% sure.
And maybe because the foot is turned up a little bit as well.
Maybe. Look, all I know is, presume to speak on behalf of most footballers, if they make a tackle like that, slide in on a greasy surface, otherwise clean, you think you've done a fair job. Now, whether the refs agree or not, of course, is another matter. But I reckon most footballers watching that will think, well, if I got a yellow card for that, I'd be pretty miffed as well.
Mariners just edging in front in the foul count. Just the second yellow card of the game. And Swahim with the first, who's since departed. Booming kick forward from Dylan Parach-Cullen, but Devon Ishmere's had time. Sent forward by Matthews. Sainsbury wins that one fairly this time, ahead of Segacic. Roux off the heel of Bratman. Nodded on in the direction of Wilson by Bailey Bratman, and the Mariners have a throw.
Might have heard Ufuk Talay on the effects mic there. Once or twice now, and that last time the ball came over to Corey Holman, he bounced it first time with his head, and the expectation, to my ears at least, very clearly from the coach, was for he, as the defensive linchpin midfielders, to control the ball and start play again, not just put it back into doubt.
Caltac had to have a little look over the shoulder just to see where Caceres was. Wilson. Calmont not able to control it. Sydney are back in control.
Well, they're putting in a big effort at the moment, Sydney 2-1 up, to increase the pressure in the midfield exchanges. It can be a high wire act at time. Joel King went in to win the ball, couldn't, and the Mariners might have been away.
It's a crucial intervention as well from Holman, and a good ball over the top for Segacic, who was trying to square it up for Klimala. Not quite.
Yeah, it was an unselfish play from Segacic, but a dropping ball on that left foot, he could have backed himself.
There's Sabit Noor for the Mariners. Docker. Cross for Will Wilson. Yeah, Storm Roux in support. He'll hang the cross up, and it was a good one too. Similar to the one that he put in against Brisbane last week, which Harrison Steele pouched, but not on that occasion for Alu Kuol.
Well, for all his heavy industry, it's Alu Kuol's only his second-sided goal. The first, you'll remember, at the near post in the first half. Devon Ishmere's just put a right palm to the ground and might have teed the ball up for another Mariner. And that one just then from Alu Kuol, who scored two good headers, or two good goals against Sydney, and they beat the Sky Blues in Gosford.
Carl Docker's got himself in a bit of a mess, but Lolly seeking out Klimala. Quite able to do so.
He won the ball, Joe Lolly, well, and the run was on, but it was a tired pass.
Edging towards the last 10 minutes at Allianz. Still a game to come tonight, of course, Perth and Auckland. And then one game tomorrow with the Newcastle Jets hosting MacArthur. Steele dallied too long. Lolly. Caceres suddenly aware of the presence of Sabit Noor. Holman. Back towards Ryan Grant, who just about managed to make the pass before he was unceremoniously dumped on the turf by Alu Kwal, who's going to get the evening's third yellow card.
Well, quite rightly, the Mariners striker has nowhere to go with that one. It's a clear yellow card. Did the very best could to put Ryan Grant under pressure.
So a change for Sydney FC. Patrick Klimala, who got his goal in the first half, and unfortunately the last touch on the equaliser from Harrison Steele's shot. There's the one he wants to remember, and the one he doesn't. Patrick Wood is replacement in the week when once again the name of Perth Glory has come up in conversations with regards to the future of Patrick Woods. Speculation there might be a loan move west for him. If you remember, a couple of years ago he very nearly joined the Glory. Whether there's truth to those rumours, no doubt we'll find out in the coming days and weeks. In the meantime, he's got a job to do for Sydney. Matthews. King. Ryan Grant. Sent along by Matthews, and a bit of a miscue from Sainsbury. Segacic trying to barrel his way through. Still might break here for Wood. It's very clever by Patrick Wood, and Segacic has a double at Allianz Stadium for the second time this season, and have the Mariners been put to sleep.
Well, it's a really delightful finish from Segacic. It's great work from Patrick Wood. And if this passes the offside test on the Harvey Norman replay, enjoy the finish whilst they work out whether Patrick Wood came from an offside position, if the touch to him was from Segacic. Thereafter, this is a great interplay between the two Sydney youngsters. Kaltak.
Yeah, that's off Kaltak.
Thought he had it. Instinctive from Patrick Wood. Straight off the bench. This is great awareness. Lovely work. And Segacic matches the pass with a delectable chip over the keeper.
Well, VAR will do the checks, no doubt. Adrian Segacic off to celebrate. Goal number 5 in the competition. And 4 for this particular campaign. And another error, uncharacteristically by Brian Kaltak. Goal stands as we thought it might, because the ball to Woods was off Kaltak.
Well, 6 goals at home in a week for Sydney.
It's the 4th home game in a row. They've scored 3 times as well. There's no problem scoring goals. Still maybe a few issues to iron out at the other end. Well, is there a way back now for the Central Coast?
Well, if there is anything in the Perth Glory chat, Simon, then David Drulich will be licking his lips after that work from Paddy Wood, who is getting to a stage and an age where he needs to get some regular football.
Yes. And with Klimala scoring goals, he's probably unlikely to get it, at least for the moment, at Sydney. So maybe it's best for all parties concerned. Anyway, we'll see how that plays out. Jesus, Lolly, Caceres. Space opens up a little bit for Anthony Caceres. Shrugs off Savik Noor. Lovely ball with the outside of the boot. And the shot's beaten away with the foot of Dylan Price. Cullen to deny Patrick Wood.
Well, with the Socceroos boss in the house, there's nothing that Caceres is doing which is hurting his chances for the March matches. He's been in great form again this season, but just almost impossible to dispossess. And even from those pressurised situations, he found that beautiful pass then for Patrick Wood, whose shot was vigorous and on target.
Really, Harps, the two subs, along with Caceres, have been the difference.
Yeah, and credit then on that basis to Coach Talley. He has come in with a little bit of criticism from Sydney fans for the inconsistent form, but Segicic blitzing the player index off the bench and to the top of the pops.
Trent Sainsbury in second. Sarah's work good enough for third. Mistake by Brian Kaltak. Woods cross seen out for now by Roux. Brantman can't control it.
And at 3-1, just the Mariners are starting to come apart a little bit.
Sydney starting to string the passes together to Jesus.
At this point, there's no signs of a Western United style comeback. Congratulations to them, by the way.
What a great game that was last night.
Magnificent football. And is it 2 in the last 3? At least 2 in the last 4 that Western United have turned around a deficit in stoppage time to win quite brilliantly. Good on you, Johnny A, and your team. Unfortunate for the victory, of course. They played some superb football themselves last night. It was a great game.
Well, maybe the Mariners can take some heart from that. They need 2 late goals at the very least to take something from tonight's encounter. Hayne Eames is being readied as late change for Mark Jackson. Mariners travel to face Western Sydney Wanderers next, and then it's Wellington away and Western United away. Error by Sainsbury. Some very tired looking players on the field. Not so Joe Lolly, who's leading the Mariners a merry dance at the moment. Wilson, he should still be full of energy. Matthews tried to block him off. Holman will try and do likewise. Wilson's done really well. Ryan Grant to the near post, out for Sydney.
And mind you, Wilson did well, Grant did well, Corey Holman did exceptionally. Not known as a speedster, Corey Holman, but he has been ploughing away in the centre of this field for nearly 90 minutes. And somehow, he found something in the tank to chase down the fresh and not too sluggish Will Wilson. It's a great effort from Corey Holman.
Stabbed forward by Holman, but not accurately enough for Adrian Segicic, who of course is now probably thinking, well, could get a hat-trick here. He's collected by McAlmont. To be fair to the Northern Irishman, I don't think he saw Segicic coming.
No, he's put in a good shift again, McAlmont. He never asked for any favours.
Well, Joe Lolly's going to get another standing ovation. No goal for him tonight, as he takes his leave to be replaced by Thiago Quintal. And Jaden Kucharski's going to come on for Leo Senna. Hayne Eames, a replacement for Alu Kwol as well for the Mariners. Good again tonight, Joe Lolly. secondary assist, I suppose you could call it, for the first goal.
And the fourth official has announced there will be a minimum of 5
One of
minutes.
Sydney FC's promising youngsters, Thiago Quintal, on for the 8th time this season off the bench. One of the Mariners' promising youngsters, Hayne Eames, who's on the ball now, getting another chance to show us what he can do. We're into the first of 5 minutes of injury time. Looks a tall order for Mark Jackson's team. Just really created, I guess, that one chance, the Mariners' second half. Aluqual's header from Stormroo's cross. Can't remember too many other occasions.
No, not much. And coughing up too much possession out of defence. Really, they put themselves under a lot of pressure too many times, and maybe that, coupled obviously with the quality that Sydney have when the time's right, has been too much for them. Caceres imperious in midfield, really and truly.
Offside flag against Sydney FC. Won't be a particularly happy drive back up the motorway to the central coast of New South Wales for those Mariners fans who came in good numbers tonight. Could they get some late joy here? Stormroo's cross away by Ryan Grant, tied it up by Segicic, and here's Caceres. Oh, little slip by Anthony Caceres. Could open the door here for Will Wilson. Steele couldn't hit the target. Even Anthony Caceres maybe feeling the conditions late on.
Well, I'd be surprised if there's a player who's not feeling it.
Perth Glory in Auckland to come on the back of tonight's encounter. Watched, by the way, as we've just been told via the big screen, by all the ones. 11,111. But not necessarily a completely binary crowd. They've provided plenty of noise. Caceres popping it over the top for Jaden Kaczarski. Segicic, and he's going to go for it. Oh, hat-trick! What a fantastic goal from Adrian Segicic. What a fantastic substitution he was by Ufuk Talay. A first senior hat-trick for Adrian Segicic, and that one the pick of the bunch. What a hit!
Well, who'd have thought, with his first chance at goal so badly miss-hit with that left foot, he now completes his hat-trick on the Harvey Norman replay with a beauty. He used his body magnificently to secure possession. He turned tight away from the tackling defender, and then he just fires it home. The very good young goalkeeper, Dylan Paraj-Cullen, can only dive and stretch. But Segicic completes the hat-trick off the bench.
Well, back-to-back hat-tricks for Ufuk Talay's team. Joe Lolly here on Wednesday, and Adrian Segicic tonight. I wonder if that's been done before in Sydney FC history. I'm sure people will tell us. He also picked up a yellow card, I can tell you, for taking the jersey off. I'm sure he won't mind that. And with virtually the last attacking action of the game. We're into the 6th minute of stoppage time now. Check of the watch from Daniel Elder. And in the end, the Mariners have been well beaten.
Disappointing fade from the defending champions.
There we go. 2 home wins in a week for Sydney. 2 hat-tricks as well. Joe Lolly on Wednesday, Adrian Segicic tonight. Back-to-back wins for the first time this season for the Sky Blues. Sydney FC are on the move into the top 6 and perhaps starting to unlock the undoubted potential in this team. The Mariners, for whom Harrison Steele did at least get on the score sheets, fall to their first away defeat of the campaign, and they will stay on the periphery of the finals race. They'll be back in Sydney in a few days' time to face the Western Sydney Wanderers. Sydney go to Wellington on Wednesday in good heart. 6 points out of 6 from 2 home games and up to 5th on the ladder. Full time at Allianz. Sydney FC 4, Central Coast Mariners 1.
Yes, we know that was very important to us. We spoke after before the game, but this game is very important for us, especially it will push us up on the table. So we are so happy that we won the game.
It is unfortunately final contention as well too, which we're always coming to. It's been so tight and top of the ladder. Are you guys excited about being involved?
Yes, so we are concentrating now on the next game. Concentrating now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Obviously, I think for us it was the biggest game of the season, and for me to be able to get a hat-trick off the bench, look, it's unbelievable as a young player to score a hat-trick, so I honestly feel amazing. Oh, 100%. I would have taken it off again if I could have, but I don't want to get sent off. Yeah, 100%. Obviously, for me, it's, I get my chances off the bench, and when I do start, and at a club like this with the big players, when you get your chance, you need to come and take them, and I think I've done that today. Yeah, obviously for me,